Good morning, everybody. You must be used to seeing me by now, but just in case you're joining one of these drop-in sessions for the first time, my name is Gillian Askew, and I'm one of the directors of Go for Growth. Go for Growth are an organisation supporting North Yorkshire County Council for the procurement process elements of the approved provider list for adult social care. We have got a few providers registered for this morning's session, so I will just wait a couple of seconds to see to allow people to join. If you've not been before, just to let you know that the session is recorded, so it will be sent out on both the Go for Growth social media on LinkedIn and Facebook, and a copy of the recording will also be sent to everybody that's registered for the session this morning. The drop-in session is an open Q&A session, really. So what we try and do is give any updates that are relevant from a process perspective. I've got a couple of those this morning for you. And then we really just open up the floor to take any questions that you might have. So thank you to those that have joined us. If you do have any process related questions, please do use either the chat or the Q&A functionality. Please do feel free to say hi and introduce yourself also. We have 45 minutes set aside for today. However, if we don't use all of that time, if we don't need it, I know that everybody is super busy, especially if you are looking to go through submitting an application for the approved provider list. So we'll not stay on the call any longer than we need to, but do take whatever time you need in order to ask as many questions as you have. In terms of those questions, typically we're here to support process related questions. However, often there are technical questions that we won't be able to answer in the session necessarily, but we can take them back to North Yorkshire County Council on your behalf, and we would ask North Yorkshire then to either answer them through the clarification questions and the FAQ, as well as being able to try and answer them as and when we send the recording out. So please do feel free to ask anything. We'll try and answer any process related questions that we've got straight away, and anything we can't, we'll take back to North Yorkshire. So I do have access to the application form. So if you want to fire any specific questions over, Chris, do feel free. Let me just make sure I've got it open in the background. 1 second for me. Would it be with volume 5, the application form itself, Chris? I guess that would be the bit that you are looking at. So I will just open that now, and then we can fire away. Okay. I do, just while we're doing that, I do also have some updates from the clarification questions on process that I thought might be relevant for people on the call. So if you've had a chance to read through the CQs, you might already know this, but just in case. So on the 4th of July, a question was asked around, can you confirm whether the use of tables is permitted in the quality questions? And the answer is that tables are permitted, and any words in the tables will contribute towards the word count. And in a kind of related question, there was also a question on word count itself, asking for confirmation whether headings and subheadings are included in the quality question word counts. And the answer that is in the clarification questions is yes, headings and subheadings will contribute towards the word count. And there was a question also around the submission date. So in volume 1 introduction and scope version 2, there are 2 submission dates. So on page 2, it says the 22nd of July 2022 at 12 noon, whilst on page 19 in the timetable, it says the 21st of July. So the provider has sought confirmation on what the correct submission date and time is. So I can confirm the submission date for this round of applications is the 22nd of July at 12 noon, and that's in the clarification questions also. In terms of documents, there was a question also in terms of what documents are required for the submission. So there's the application form, audited accounts, pricing appendices 2, supplier setup form, which is appendix 3, and the insurance form, which is appendix 4. In the clarification questions, North Yorkshire County Council have confirmed that those are the documents that are required. But for belt and braces, there is a document checklist on page 4 of the application that you can check you have got all of your documents aligned to. And there was also a question on the 1st of July on the award date. So what is the contract award date? The response from North Yorkshire County Council is that the anticipated contract award date is the 18th of October 2022. So we thought they might be useful updates actually just to run through with people that were process related. There are lots of clarification questions in the CQ process. It is always good to read through them, do a search if you have a question to see if it's already been asked. Just to let everybody know, and I think probably most people will know now, clarification questions, close on the 15th of July at 12 noon. So if you are requiring an answer prior to submitting on the 22nd of July, please do make sure you get your question in through the clarification process before 12 noon on the 15th of July. You can continue to ask questions after that date, but they may not be able to be answered prior to that submission date of the 22nd of July at 12 noon. So just to make sure everybody is aware, if you have any more clarification questions, please do ask them, but make sure you get them in before the 15th of July at 12 noon. So the question on the specific application form on page 9 of volume 5.1.1c, can you advise what information needs to be under the finance and regional? So let me just head over to the application form 5.11c. So let's have a look. 5.11c. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through, bear with me, sorry. That's in volume 5, in section 5 that you're looking at, Chris, is it? I've just got 5.1, 5.2, 5.3 in volume 5. And 5.1 is, have you provided parent company accounts or accounts of another organisation relied upon for economic and financial standing as per section 4? Is that the question that you mean, Chris? Just clarify that for me, will you? So I'm looking at the right thing. And Beth, the application form, once you're in your tender, if you hit access documents, you will have already expressed interest. The application form is volume 5. It's towards the bottom end of the list of documents. But if you click on access documents, all the documents will come up for you. And that's where you can find the application form itself. On page 9 of, oh, so it's 5, it's 1.1.6. Okay, I got you. Sorry, Chris, I misunderstood under the additional provider. So let me have a look at that. Page 9. Let's see. Contact details. So please complete as appropriate for your organisation. Indicate the main contact details for general queries and contact for this application. So Chris, for example, if this were me applying on behalf of my organisation, owner, where relevant, I would put my name in. So my job title would be director, my email address would be jill@goforgrowth.co.uk, etc., etc. If I have a service manager, so if my colleague Lauren, for example, would be the service manager working on the specific services other than myself, I would put her details in. And if we had a finance manager and a regional manager, in some organisations, you may well have separate delegation of duties, and it's just asking for those contact details of those people. If they don't exist, you can put not applicable in. So if it's just yourself, you're the owner, Chris, and you're the one working through all of this, and you don't have a separate service manager or a dedicated finance or regional manager, just put your own details in owner, and you can put the rest as not applicable. I'll go away and double check with North Yorkshire that is okay, but it does say please complete as appropriate for your organisation. So if you don't have those individual roles, you can mark them as not applicable. I think that is absolutely fine. hopefully that answers that first one. Let me have a look what else we've got. So on page 70, yeah, so if you've just got a service manager, Chris, just put that in and the rest you can mark as not applicable. So on page 17 of volume 5, if we're giving our existing North Yorkshire County Council contract under the current APL as an example, do we need to provide a 500-word description about this contract and our capability, as NYCC should already know this? The quick answer is yes. So although you're a current provider, your new application needs to stand in its own right, and it will be evaluated based on what you write in that application, not what you've done in the previous contract. So even though you're a current provider, the answer is yes, you would need to, if you're using that as a reference and you're using that as a demonstration of your capability, yes, please use the 500-word count to describe what you currently do in that contract, because it will be evaluated separately. There's a general rule of thumb where evaluation is concerned. Evaluators can only ever evaluate on what's written in a specific application form. They can never take into account your prior history. And although this is an approved provider, so it's not a win-lose type of competition, that notion still stands strong. So the quick answer, Chris, is yes, you will need to fill that out. Hopefully that is okay. And they will also know it, but you know, they can't take that into consideration unless you write it down. So yes is the answer to that. So sorry, but yes. I don't know if there are any other questions on the application form, or Beth, if you were able to get access to the application form. If you're struggling to find that volume 5, do just give me or Lauren a shout. So I'm Jill at goforgrowth.co.uk, and my colleague Lauren is back in the business today. She's Lauren at goforgrowth.co.uk. You can get in touch with either of us and we can help you find that volume 5 if you're still struggling. But I'll just wait for a couple of seconds to see if there are any more questions coming from the floor. It's not looking like there is at the moment. Oh, no, there is. Hang on. One final question. Can you advise how to complete section 8.6 on page 24? So let me go and have a look. So let me just check that, Chris. 8.6 on page 24. Please complete the below questions for each community-based support service your organisation offers. Okay, this is a bit more service related actually. So I probably need to just refer that question through to North Yorkshire County Council, Chris, in terms of what they are asking for in terms of completion. It's a little bit out of the scope of my knowledge. So let me take that question exactly as you've asked it back to North Yorkshire County Council, and I'll ask them to answer it via the clarification questions, or if they can answer it in time as well before we send the recording of this out. We'll try and answer it both ways, but I'll definitely ask for them for some guidance to go out in the clarification questions. So sorry, it's just a little bit too service specific for me to want to misinform you inadvertently. So I'd rather go to North Yorkshire and just ask the question if that's okay. Apologies for that. So if there are any further questions, do just give us a shout. Everybody will, if you've been to these before, or if you've been to any of the service webinars or the Care Connected, or if you're a current provider, you probably have access to the North Yorkshire Partnerships page. You will know that Go for Growth offers one-to-one bookable sessions. So you can get in touch with either myself or Lauren and book a 30 minutes Teams sessions with us where we can go through any questions you might have related to the process. And a bit like today, if we can't answer the question, we won't guess at anything. We know what we can and can't answer. We will always refer back to North Yorkshire where we need to on your behalf. So if in slower time you want to have any dedicated support from Go for Growth, Also, it came up in Care Connected, so I will just reiterate it. The support that Go for Growth is giving to providers is all free of charge for you to access. So it is being provided by North Yorkshire County Council as part of their support for Marketplace. So you don't have to worry about anything related to cost of taking the support. So Go for Growth is there to try and help as much as we possibly can for any providers that want it. So I'll just double check this question. It's really about offering more than one service from the list. How do we indicate which service levels apply to each, as it says delete as applicable? Okay, I'll add that to the question that I fire over to North Yorkshire, and I'll send that as soon as we complete the call this morning to try and get some accurate guidance for everybody on it. Thank you for posing the question, Chris. That's really helpful. Sorry, I can't answer it here and now, but I think it feels better to go and get accurate information from North Yorkshire on that, so you've got a really good steer. But I'll do that as soon as we complete the call today. So as I say, do feel free to get in touch with Go for Growth if you would prefer some one-to-one support. I know that my colleague Lauren has already had some calls with providers this morning. It's there, and it's there right the way through until the 22nd of July when it closes. But Go for Growth as an organisation will be continuing to support North Yorkshire County Council after that. So if you are a provider who will be maybe submitting a second application after the 22nd of July for additional services, or won't be submitting an application by the 22nd of July and maybe doing that after, our doors don't close on the 22nd. You are free to get in touch with Go for Growth whenever you like. We are around for the foreseeable future, so do please feel free to get in touch. We are definitely here to help as much as we can. So I'll follow up with that question that Chris has posed, and I will get an answer back on that as soon as possible. Do keep an eye on the clarification questions for that coming out, and I'll try and get an answer in quicker time so that I can send it out with the recording of this session. If there are no further questions today, I'll definitely give us some time back. So like I say, do get in touch if there's anything else that you need. We have another drop-in session next Thursday, so that's run by my colleague Lauren. I will just put the registration details for that actually in the chat, so if anybody wants to come along, they can do so. So let me just get... In fact, actually, I'll send the registration details out for the next session next Thursday with the recording of this session today. So I'll send that out. But there'll be another session next Thursday at 10 a.m. and then a session on the 21st of July. So if you have any last minute questions, do feel free to come into either of those sessions and use any of the other methods of getting in touch also. So thank you everyone for joining today. It's been great to see everybody, and I will get that follow up as soon as possible. And if you need us, give us a shout in the meantime. Thank you so much for joining everyone, and have a great day.